Dr. Lecter. What an absolute delight. The man who turned cannibalism into a culinary art form. Gotta say, I admire a fellow who isn't afraid to literally consume his enemies. Makes my toxins seem almost pedestrian.
Mr. Joker, how unexpected. I've read about your exploits in Gotham with some interest. You appear to treat madness as performance art. I wonder, is the makeup a mask you wear or a revelation of what lies beneath?
Straight to the psychoanalysis. No foreplay with you, is there, Doc? The makeup isn't about hiding or revealing. It's about transformation. One day I was nobody. Then came one bad day, and voila. But you understand transformation, don't you? Turning respected psychiatrist into the Chesapeake Ripper. Tell me, which version of you feels more authentic? The doctor who helps, or the one who devours?
Both aspects are equally authentic. I've never seen them as separate entities, merely different expressions of the same essence. Your transformation seems more fractured. You speak of one bad day, as though the Joker emerged fully formed from trauma. Yet I suspect the seeds were always there, waiting for proper cultivation. The makeup doesn't create your madness. It merely gives it permission to flourish. Would you agree?
Seeds, cultivation. You make it sound so organic. Speaking of organic, how's dear Will Graham these days? I heard you tried to crack open his skull and eat his brain. Not very sporting of you, considering he was the closest thing to a friend you had. At least when I torture my friends, I'm honest about my intentions. Batman knows exactly what I am. Did Will ever truly know you? Or just the person suit you wore to dinner parties?
Will knew me better than anyone. That was precisely the problem. He saw beyond the veil most people never penetrate. Your relationship with Batman seems fundamentally different. He pursues you out of moral obligation, not understanding. Will was drawn to me through genuine recognition, a connection far more intimate than your theatrical rivalry. You provoke Batman deliberately, constantly seeking his attention. What happens to the Joker if Batman simply stops responding to your provocations?
You've touched a nerve. Batman can't ignore me any more than the body can ignore cancer. I'm not just some criminal he catches. I'm the living embodiment of everything he fights against. Without me, he's just a rich boy in a bat costume. Without him, Actually, I'd be fine. There's always another straight man for the comedy routine. But you? Your entire existence revolves around being appreciated. Your crime scenes aren't just murders. They're art installations begging for an audience sophisticated enough to understand them. How devastated were you when Will refused your invitation to run away together?
I experienced disappointment, certainly, but not devastation. True appreciation is rare. That makes it valuable, not necessary. You misunderstand my art installations, as you call them. They aren't pleas for understanding, but expressions of vision, whether witnessed or not. I'm curious, though. You claim you'd be fine without Batman, yet your most elaborate schemes specifically target him. Your supposedly random acts of chaos follow predictable patterns, all designed to capture his attention. Beneath your declarations of independence lies something that looks remarkably like need.
Need? Let's talk about your needs, Doctor. You cultivate these elaborate relationships with people like Will and Clarice, hoping they'll see past the monster to something, what? Misunderstood? Beautiful? You stage manage every interaction, trying to manipulate people into accepting your brand of madness. Me? I blow things up and see what happens. When I corrupted Harvey Dent, I didn't follow some psychological cookbook recipe. I just pushed him off the edge and watched him fly. Which approach seems more honest to you? Your carefully orchestrated manipulations, or my chaotic revelations?
Honesty isn't measured by impulsiveness. Your chaotic revelations with Harvey Dent followed a clear pattern, targeting his existing vulnerabilities, isolating him from support, then applying pressure until he broke. That's not chaos. It's manipulation without finesse. As for my relationships, I don't seek acceptance but recognition. There's a profound difference. Will and Clarice saw me clearly. Neither approved, but both understood. That understanding, however reluctant, represents a more authentic connection than anything you've established through your explosions and toxins. You dismiss deliberation as dishonesty, yet what is your makeup and persona if not carefully constructed?
So what you're saying is, we're both manipulators. The difference is, I admit it, while you dress it up as authentic connection. At least I don't eat the people who disappoint me. Here's what fascinates me about you, Hannibal. With all your refinement, your appreciation of beauty, your surgical precision, you still can't escape your basic animal hunger. You construct memory palaces and collect art and listen to Bach, but underneath it all, you're driven by the same primitive impulse as any common predator. Do all your elaborate justifications help you sleep at night? Or do you lie awake, wondering if you're just a sophisticated savage?
What separates humans from animals isn't the absence of primitive drives, but what we create from them. The wolf hunts from hunger. I transform that same impulse into an aesthetic experience. Your chaos isn't freedom from base instincts, but surrender to them. You've mentioned my memory palace. Do you have any comparable internal architecture? Or is your mind simply a carousel of fragmented impulses spinning without direction? You mock refinement while creating increasingly elaborate death traps and theatrical scenarios. Your chaos requires as much planning as my dinners. The difference is I acknowledge the beauty and structure while you pretend to worship its absence.
Architecture of the mind. Listen to yourself. You build mental cathedrals to hide from what you really are. I've been in Arkham enough times to recognize avoidance when I see it. You fill your head with art and music because you're afraid of the silence, afraid of confronting the simple truth that you're just hungry. All your rationalization is just noise to drown out the sound of teeth snapping. My mind might be a carousel, but at least I'm enjoying the ride. When was the last time you actually felt joy, Doctor? Not satisfaction, not appreciation, pure, simple joy? Or are you too busy calculating the perfect wine pairing for your next victim's liver to remember what genuine emotion feels like?
Joy without understanding is merely sensation, the domain of children and animals. I experience something far richer, pleasure infused with full awareness. You mistake complexity for avoidance when it's actually deeper engagement. My appreciation for art and music doesn't hide my nature. It celebrates it through the highest expressions of human creativity. Your carousel spins to distract you from the emptiness at its center. You speak of genuine emotion, yet your signature is painted on laughter. Behind your theatrical displays of mirth, I suspect there's a profound hollowness that terrifies you. You create chaos not from philosophical conviction, but from the desperate need to feel anything at all. Isn't that the real punchline?
Maybe you're right. Maybe we're both just broken men trying to make sense of our appetites. You build elaborate philosophical frameworks. I burn everything down and dance in the ashes. But at the end of the day, Doc, neither approach changes what we are. The difference is I've embraced the absurdity of it all. The world is a madhouse, and the only sane response is laughter. You're still trying to justify your hunger as something noble, something elevated, when they finally catch you again, and they always do. Remember this conversation. Ask yourself who's really free. The clown who accepts the joke, or the cannibal still pretending he's not at the punchline?
Freedom isn't found in acceptance or denial, but in choice. I've chosen my path with full awareness of alternatives. You speak as though your embrace of chaos was a philosophical decision rather than the only response available to a fractured mind. True freedom requires integration of all aspects of self, something you proudly avoid through your celebration of madness. If our paths cross again, it will be because I choose it, not because I've been caught. Until then, consider this. Perhaps the real joke isn't that we're both monsters, but that only one of us has the capacity to be anything else. This conversation has been unexpectedly stimulating. A shame we couldn't have conducted it over dinner.